6 months ago, I made the Now Hear Me Out video in regards to Tyler Sonsie and that we need to play him in the midfield to actually let him reach his full potential as an AFL footballer. And fair to say it was laughed at and mocked, and still maybe is laughed at and mocked. And maybe I'm holding on to a lot of hope, a little bit of hope, whatever we might want to call it. And even though the centre bounce piece hasn't happened yet on a regular basis, he did have one on the weekend just gone against West Coast, which was nice to see. But I don't think the centre bounce thing not happening isn't his fault, because we're not seeing anyone else go in there either. So it just seems like it's a coaching method of what we're wanting to do with the other midfielders. But Tyler Sonsie on the weekend against West Coast, I think you can say categorically had his best game for the club in a couple of years. And this one really felt like a make or break game for Tyler. The week prior against Essendon, we obviously all saw he got subbed off and was pretty upset and disheartened by it. And he was pretty emotional about it on the interchange. And I guess that can be looked at in two different ways. I mean, some people are like, oh, come on, he wasn't playing that well and he wasn't having the best game. I think there was players out there that were probably not playing as well as he was. So that's where I can probably sense his frustration. But to what EJ said on the Monday night show, what it actually showed, though, is it showed that he cared. It showed that he wants to be out there doing the best for his teammates. He wants to be involved. He wants to be the best player that he can be. So it actually was the first time that I think we could all see that he actually gives a shit. And that's really important to have as a player. It'd be easy to just switch off and tune out and check out when you've been subbed and not give two shits about it. But I know that people would have liked optically to see him be really supportive and whatever on the sidelines. I get that. I really do get that. But I actually think that moment in time in that Essendon game, that subbing, could have been a bit of a penny drop moment, or maybe what followed after that in terms of the other conversations that were had. And I know we only had one example of a game since then, so I'm not trying to get carried away. I'm just wanting to at least address what had happened and note the vast difference in Sonsie from week to week is all I'm trying to do in this video. But it seems like there was a conversation had with him and I'm guessing would be Uze during the week, and I've got no doubt Sonsie would have expressed his displeasure at being subbed based on what we visually saw on TV when he was on the bench. And maybe Uze said, hey, this is what we need from you. As much as his skill has typically been a strong suit for him, it's been his lack of committing to a contest, stepping into the contest, as they say. There was just often far too many times where he would take that sort of slight hesitation or a backward step, wouldn't commit the body as much as we would like a Richmond player to commit the body. So that's a blanket rule for everybody, really. And they're the things that can kind of start to undo you as a player. And it just drops your confidence, I think, too. And it not only does it drop the player's confidence, but it can also drop the confidence of his teammates around him. Is there a guy out here that's not going to go when it's his turn to go? What does that mean for me? Do I have to cover? And it can kind of throw a whole lot of things out of whack. But then we have the West Coast game. Now, before we go any further, I don't want to hear any nonsense about, but it was only West Coast, so who cares? My argument to that is the same people who criticise him are asking him to do X, Y, and Z. He does it. And then you want to shift the goalposts and say, but it was only against West Coast? Nah, not having it. You got to give the kid some kudos and credit on the game he had against West Coast. Just cop it on the chin and say he played a good one. And let's actually celebrate and support him. And hopefully more of it happens. I'm not at all saying that this is going to be the new norm for him. Hopefully it is. It would be amazing if it was. But it's a step in the right direction. And we clearly saw a different Tyler Sonsie in the West Coast game. The Tyler Sonsie we saw looked like it was last-ditched attempt to show Uze, to show the club why he thinks he's the player that he can be for us. 21 disposals, 81% efficiency, 7 contested possessions, 1 goal, 7 score involvements, 1 CBA. So a pretty well-rounded game from Tyler. Obviously didn't get subbed, which was good too. But, you take those numbers and those stats aside, there was one moment in particular, and I've got it rolling over the top, so you'll see it. But when he commits to this contest, when the ball's kicked to a 50-50 spot in our forward 50, eyes only for the ball, just barrels in 100 mile an hour, cops the contest, and I think it causes a stoppage. The ball gets halved, stoppage, and we go from there. That's the exact intent and attack on the ball that you want to see. And this was a theme for him during the night. There was plenty of other marking contests that he had where he didn't flinch down. He went back strongly, whether it was to mark it or to spoil it or do whatever. Even took that mark in the goal square from the Jonty Fall kick when someone was breathing down his neck and gave him pretty strong contact. Didn't fumble the mark. He took it and then kicked the goal. Didn't sort of duck down. It was a strong, meaningful grab. There was a few people at the game that said that they had noticed Sonsie like really sort of trying to amp himself up before the game. So it seems like hopefully something has dropped for him. And then the confidence he then gets from that, he then gets involved in other bits of good play around the ground, like that kick that he had when he had it on the half back line and put it onto Tim Taranto's chest in the centre of the ground, or just off into the wing, amongst 4 West Coast players, that results in a coast-to-coast goal to Ryan Mansell. That is a very, very elite and hard kick to execute. And the fact he had the courage to try that, to show his skill, to back himself, and then to execute it under real-time pressure, was an absolute credit to him. And he can do things like that. Like, he is dual-sided. He can set up good bits of play. Got a goal himself. Obviously, roved a good pack and got the handball out to Taranto for another goal earlier in the game too. He just had a really, really well-rounded game, and I just felt it deserved its own proper praise in its own right, because everyone's very, very quick to slap Sonsie and try and cut him down. He is very much, I think wrongfully, a whipping boy for a lot of people. And I just wanted to make this, and I know he'll never see it, so it's not even going to reach his eyes, but I just want to say I'm proud of what he did. It was a huge turnaround from the Bombers game, and I really, really hope that this is the effort and the intensity for him that goes forward, because if he plays like he did against West Coast with the insane intensity, it will carry him forward and he will be in our best 22. So to loop back to my now hear me out from 6 months ago, there's still time. He's still only very, very young, so we cannot write this one off just yet. He is obviously in the last year of a contract, so there's a lot to play out in that space. Maybe I will ultimately come undone, and you'll all have the last laugh, and that is a distinct possibility. But it's good to see Tyler gives a shit and cares and wants to be a Richmond man. And I think I would be gobsmacked if post-game Adamuze didn't single him out and say, hey, that was a Richmond game. What you did tonight was a Richmond man, a Richmond type of game, more of it. And that will make him feel 10 foot tall, and hopefully he carries on with it this week. So Tyler Sonsie, well done. Awesome game against the Eagles. Love your intent. Love your footwork and skill. Great you got a goal. More of that, please. Let that be your baseline level now. Onwards and upwards. And please let my 6-month-old video end up being right in some capacity, please. But no, all the best with the game against the Magpies. That's the test for you, though, isn't it? To see how you go, not just him, but all the players, all the youngsters, how you go against a quality outfit. So bring your best again, and we'll see where we go from there. But let us know your thoughts about Tyler's game in the comments below. We're against the Eagles. What did you like? Were you happy with what you saw? Do you think he's still got room to grow and to grow into the role we want him to play? Keen to hear it all about it. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as well, and we'll see you for the next one. Go Tigers.